MHS. It's Friday, March 24th, and welcome to this special edition of The Pulse. I'm Cameron Zalowski.
And I'm Miles Hurley. Thank you so much for joining us. This week on The Pulse, we'll take a look back on the boys' basketball season, how they grew, and what they accomplished as a team.
A dynasty has come to an end with the final curtain call for MHS's beloved spring musical director.
And lastly, we'll take a journey down Main Street, where MCC on Main features artists of all different cultures who have shared their artwork with the community.
All this and much more coming up on this week's edition of The Pulse.
Phenomenal. That's how director of Mark Incorporated, Kevin Zingler, described last Friday's Mark Dance. Hosted by the National Honor Society, the dance brings together participants and student volunteers to make a night everyone can enjoy. March 17th was no different, and Jenna Kelly took this opportunity to spend the evening with some of Manchester's exceptional residents.
Dancing, laughter, and a whole lot of fun. These are just 3 words that can describe this year's annual Mark Dance, which filled the MHS cafeteria with some St. Patrick's Day spirit. Mark is a non-profit organization that spends countless hours working in the Manchester community, supporting citizens with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The St. Patrick's Day Dance is one of their most popular events as it helps bring our community closer together.
So the event is really fun for the Manchester High School students and the guests that we have from Mark, and it feels really good to make other people happy.
Residents of all ages came out in their finest green apparel to enjoy some pizza and cookies, and also to get their groove on. Mrs. Grayson, faculty advisor for National Honor Society, has been organizing this exciting event for the last 4 years.
So the Mark Dance is my favorite event of the year by far, hands down, it's the best. And what makes it so awesome is that it brings together all members of our community. It introduces people to different people they might not normally interact with on a daily basis. And it's fun. I mean, as you're walking around looking at this dance, you can't help but have a good time. Everybody's having a blast here, which is why it's just a wonderful event for our community.
But the guests aren't the only ones who will leave the dance with a smile on their face.
I love the dance because you get a lot of great hugs, and all the people are so nice, and you get to feel like you're making a difference. I like it a lot.
With a lot of preparation, last Friday's Mark Dance was another smashing success, bringing the Manchester community together for a great time and a great cause. From the Pulse and from the MHS cafeteria, this has been Jenna Kelly reporting. Happy St. Patrick's Day!
I had the privilege to be able to attend the Mark Dance, and it was really a great experience. I mean, everyone had such a great time.
It was awesome. This one girl was even breakdancing to Taylor Swift at one point, so it was really fun to see. And you know what? On Tuesday, March 21st, MHS was getting their funk on. March 21st is recognized as National Down Syndrome Day, and in support of that, students and staff alike donned their craziest socks. The idea behind the funky sock craze, spreading the concept of National Down Syndrome Day every time you were asked about your socks. Although students were asked to give a $1 donation on Tuesday, the National Down Syndrome Congress is always accepting donations. Using the hashtag #LotsOfSocks, ordering merchandise from the National Down Syndrome Organization, or creating fundraisers of your own are just a few of the ways that you can get involved. For more information on National Sock Day or any of the World Down Syndrome Day events, visit worlddownsyndromeday.org/lotsofsocks.
The MHS boys basketball season came to an end on March 6th, but the team made memories that will last a lifetime. The team now has made it to the state tournament for a 2nd year in a row in a very tough division.
As the Manchester High School varsity boys basketball team began their postseason run, they had one goal in mind.
Mohegan.
Although a tough loss to Simsbury prevented the team from reaching the state championship game played at Mohegan Sun, the season was still a success.
Beating South Windsor, beating Hartford Public, taking East Hartford to overtime
were huge games for the team. Among the highlights was the senior night game, where Manchester topped 13th ranked South Windsor at home 42-39.
They beat us earlier in the season at their place, and then we came here, played hard, got the W for the seniors.
But that game, and every game, was about more than just the players. Throughout the season, the team had one man in mind, Mitch.
He was a really big part of our community and really big part of us.
We had him by our side through everything, every game.
We just got a W, and it was for him.
The team remembered their biggest fan on and off the court, sporting Big Mitch warm-up shirts and dedicating every game to his legacy.
Even if we had a tough loss, a good win, he would always be there. He'd be our #1 fan, and we just saw it was for him.
With Mitch in the back of their minds, the team reached the CCC tournament for the first time in many years and gained a respectable seed in the CIAC state tournament.
We finally came together, became more as a family on the court.
3-17 2 seasons ago, 9-11 last season, and 10-10 this season. The Manchester boys basketball program has grown to see new heights. Next year, the team hopes to continue on that path to success. From the Pulse, this has been Chris Pagano report.
Coach Reiser has helped the boys to their second playoff season in his only 2 years as head coach. With young, talented players in the fold, it's likely that trend will continue.
We will take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear about a few extraordinary members from our performing arts wing.
And down on Main Street, we'll visit the work of some inspiring artists. This and more after these quick messages.
He's so ugly.
Who is that?
Who is that loser?
I don't even know his name.
Invite
He's such a nerd. You can't deal with it. Just go kill yourself.
Safety starts with S, but begins with you.
The final curtain has dropped on this year's musical, Godspell, and the one who owned the final bow is senior actor Connor O'Neill. Lucas Bullducks brings us this week's Student Spotlight.
Theater can create a whole new world and reach to find the spontaneous imagination inside everyone. And that is exactly what Connor O'Neill does.
It's been really fun. It's been a lot of work, but I think it's paid off and it's made me a better person because I've done the shows.
Mentoring Connor has been a lot of fun. He's a great student to work with. He's hilarious, he's funny. He never has a bad day, or at least he doesn't show it when he's at rehearsal. So.
The hours of singing, dancing, and rehearsing pay off in fascinating ways. In Godspell, this year's spring musical, Connor played the lead role, proving his commitment to his directors and fellow cast members.
It's a completely different character, and for him to be able to pull off Jesus as well as he did, it's quite a talent. It's quite a feat that he accomplished.
You have to be really committed, because if you do it halfway or you aren't fully involved with it, the performance isn't going to be as good.
Not only does his talent help him better himself, but also those around him.
I've seen growth in Connor in terms of his character development. Connor works hard. He takes notes well as an actor. He will seek out ways to improve his character on his own. So he's been really great at kind of taking the advice that Mr. Tyler and I have given him, and when we see things that we like that he's done on stage, we automatically see it again later on, and and more of it on stage when we give him notes, which is great.
All this time, you've got a great big plan of your own.
The MHS Performing Arts Department has produced some extremely talented and inspiring actors. Godspell was a truly amazing performance, and it could not have been the same without Connor O'Neill. We can't wait to see what this Performing Arts Department puts on next year. From The Pulse, this has been Lucas Bolduc reporting.
It's been a pleasure to watch Connor develop as an actor over his time here at MHS. His role as Jesus this year was definitely the perfect note to end his high school theater career on.
And you know, the end of Godspell this year signified many lasts, including musical director Mr. Ed Tyler. Ben Mashinsky shines a spotlight on this beloved member of the MHS community.
Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8, and switch.
Every year, Manchester has been known for putting together extraordinary musicals. From Little Shop of Horrors to this year's Godspell, these productions are always ones that have a lasting impact on anyone in the audience. But the success of these productions are mainly because of one individual, the one and only Mr. Tyler. Mr. Tyler has been a part of the Manchester High School community for 26 years, and during this time, he has managed to turn the music department into what it is today.
I have never had a show where I wasn't very pleasantly surprised by the creativity and the diligence and the just the need for the students to take ownership of these shows.
Since 1991, Mr. Tyler has dedicated much of his time to making all of these productions possible.
He can be like hard on you, but he's doing it all for like the greater good.
His students, along with the entire school, are forever grateful for everything he has done for the Performing Arts Department.
Mr. Tyler's a good person. He directs excellent shows, and he's a really good course teacher, and I think he has a really positive impact on MHS.
Unfortunately, this is Mr. Tyler's last year producing the spring musical. Although he is handing the torch over to someone else, the impact that he's had on the school will be remembered for years to come.
They're all pulling together, and it doesn't matter what their backgrounds are, and it doesn't matter where they've come from or their level of experience or their level of talent or whatever. They're all pulling together to create something that no one of them could do by themselves, and that's an amazing thing.
From The Pulse, this is Ben Mashinsky reporting.
Over the last 26 years, Mr. Tyler and the Spring Musical have become favorites of the MHS community. So take a bow, Mr. Tyler, and thank you.
With a world revolving around social media today, fake news is producing false statements that has misled consumers on a day-to-day basis. Patrick Doherty investigates the sources of fake news and what we can do to prevent it from taking over our lives.
Media news, which is presented to the public by either television or newspaper, has become the most popular way for people to learn about the current events in our world. Viewers are sometimes misled by the media, which Hartford Courant writer Paul Doyle knows. This can lead to misinterpretations or false accusations made by the public towards a certain figure.
So what it really does is it kind of already amplifies what you believe, and we're in a culture now where we're so locked into our ideas that we want information that's going to confirm what we already believe.
Right. Doyle says fake news can skew the thoughts of consumers, leading us to believe that statements are representing the truth, which is not always the case.
Well, I think what it does often, these stories, they tell people things that they want to believe already.
Sources of false news are now being brought to the attention of many, which has led teachers to show students the proper way to verify the credibility of the sources they are reading.
Teaching students to be able to kind of navigate those realms and waters of where they're receiving their sources from.
Fake news is everywhere and is published on a day-to-day basis revolving around many different topics. With proper source analysis and research of evidence, you will be able to pick out the real news from the fake. From The Pulse, this has been Patrick Doherty reporting.
Fake news is everywhere, so you need to be careful when looking at what may seem to be a reliable source. You can check the credibility of source by searching author names, other published articles, or by searching for the same information on other reliable sources to check for accuracy.
With more than 7,000 living world languages on Earth, art is the one way people can communicate without speaking. The Manchester community shares this passion in our own high school and all the way to downtown Main Street. Lauren Diana brings us the story.
Art is everywhere. Your social media, the logo on your t-shirt, even the architecture of the building you're in right now. Within Manchester, MCC on Main Street has displayed art since its opening 5 years ago. Today, they showcase 5 contemporary Latina artists in an exhibit called Open Hearts.
It's a great way to express emotion because you're by yourself. You're alone with your canvas. You're alone with your materials, and you have a place to put something that's in your heart and what's in your soul. You know, you're painting your joy.
Art is used to make a statement and send a message, whether it be political or comical.
It allows me to basically escape the real world, go into like a more of a creative state of mind, and allows me to be stress-free.
Art has and will continue to expand the voice of people from all around the world. From The Pulse, this has been Lauren Diana reporting.
If you're interested in learning more about the inspiration of art, join MCC on Main for a Q&A with 5 famous local Latino artists on March 24th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Well, that's all we have for you today, Manchester. And if you have any suggestions for stories that we might have missed, email Mr. Larson at b11elars@mpspride.org or come visit us in the communication suite.
If you're interested in learning more about The Pulse, checking out our crew, or viewing some of our other projects, visit mhstelevision.com.
And hey, if you just can't get enough MHS news, check out our school newspaper at mhsharbinger.org.
And of course, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at MHS Red Prod. I'm Karen Wasilowski.
And I'm Miles Hurley. This has been The Pulse.